Picture this. Your teenager hops into a friend's car for the ride home. Your 8-year-old is playing Explorer in the hall closet, and your older kid is off at a birthday party where somebody passes around a tiny blue pill. 3 ordinary moments. 1 unsettling truth. Kids in the United States are now dying more often in situations just like these. Here's the headline up front. For the first time in decades, child and teen death rates are climbing. Not because of a single boogeyman, but because everyday life has quietly shifted under our feet. Today we're going to unpack why that's happening and, more importantly, what you and I can actually do about it. Signpost number 1. Let's rethink our gut instinct about risk. We like to believe that tragedy is freakishly rare, the stuff of evening news teasers. Yet the newest national data say otherwise. Danger is leaking into routine spaces the way water finds cracks in a sidewalk, slowly, steadily, and almost invisibly. How did it get this way so fast? 2 big forces collided. First, the pandemic stressed every support system kids rely on: school, healthcare, even simple face-to-face time with friends. Second, lethal tools became absurdly easy to reach. Think unsecured guns under a bed, counterfeit pills delivered with a few taps, or cars that top 100 miles an hour without breaking a sweat. Put those forces together and a tiny lapse, one impulsive moment, can turn irreversible. Now, to understand where the numbers are spiking, zoom in with me on 3 hotspots: guns, vehicles, and drugs. They overlap in real life, so we'll visit each quickly and then look at the bigger weave. First stop, firearms. Guns have now overtaken every other cause of death for kids and teens. We're not talking only about headline-grabbing mass shootings. Most of these deaths happen in sudden arguments, impulsive self-harm, or moments when a curious child finds an unlocked weapon. The scary part? A gun works faster than regret. Feelings that might cool off in 10 minutes can turn fatal in 10 seconds. Second stop, our roads. Picture a group of teenagers cruising in a car that feels more like a rolling living room than a 2-ton machine. Add in-car screens, thumping music, and horsepower designed for adult reflexes, and you've got the recipe. High speed plus inexperience equals smaller margins for error. 1 misread stoplight, 1 overconfident lane change, and lives can flip in an instant. Third stop, drugs, especially pills. Many of the adolescents dying from overdoses aren't long-time users. They're experimenting, borrowing a pill that looks just like something from the pharmacy, but isn't. A few invisible grains of fentanyl can turn a bad idea into a funeral. It's Russian roulette, but the cylinder has more loaded chambers than ever before. All right, deep breath. Let that sink in for a second. Signpost number 2. What do these 3 stories have in common? Access and design. The environments kids move through, bedrooms, backseats, group chats, either make danger easy or make it hard. And here's the hopeful twist. Design is something we can change. Think smaller than sweeping legislation. Imagine a lockbox on the fridge for meds, a speed limiter activated on the family car, or a phone setting that silences unknown numbers at midnight. None of these fixes require kids to become perfect decision makers. They simply rewrite the script so a bad choice hits more roadblocks before it turns deadly. Micro story time. A high school basketball coach I spoke with starts every season by spending 10 minutes on safe rides home. Players leave the gym knowing which parent is driving, which route they're taking, and what happens if plans change. That tiny ritual has already headed off 2 close calls in his program. Small, well-aimed shifts can snowball. Now widen the lens to the community level. Cities that trim speed limits near schools, clinics that pass out free lockboxes, youth centers that teach overdose response. All of those moves reroute where danger naturally flows. Prevention is less whack-a-mole and more gardening. Pull obvious weeds, plant new protections, and keep checking what's sprouting. Before we wrap, I want to hand you 3 practical questions, your homework between now and next week. 1. Take an honest walkthrough of your own spaces, home, car, and your kids' online world. Where do the biggest risks actually sit? Guns, meds, pools, distracted driving, or unsupervised screen time? Pick the top two and name one concrete fix for each. 2. Do you know your pediatrician's exact protocol for mental health or suicide risk concerns? If the answer is not really, jot down 2 questions you'll ask, by phone or at the next visit, so you're crisis ready. 3. Who nearby is already working on child safety? Maybe a school counselor, a faith group, or that neighbor organizing a traffic calming petition. Reach out this week. Plug in or borrow one of their ideas for your family routine. Okay, time for one last pause. So here's what we covered today, your recap in plain English. First, child and teen death rates are rising for the first time in decades, mainly because the pandemic weakened support systems while lethal tools got easier to grab. Second, 3 zones, guns, vehicles, and drugs, now account for most of those deaths and often overlap in a single day's activities. Third, design beats willpower. Simple guardrails like lockboxes, speed limiters, and clear community norms make the safer choice the easy choice. Finally, small moves compound. When homes, clinics, coaches, and city planners each nudge the odds, risk starts to drain away like water through new channels. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You don't have to solve everything. You just have to move one obstacle between a child and a moment of irreversible danger. Do that, and then do the next one. That's how we bend the curve back toward safety. Thanks for listening, and keep tending that shared garden. I'll see you next week.